And for more on the story, we welcome in Stuart Kaplan, former FBI agent and an attorney. It's the second time we've spoken with him this week, but we have new developments. Good morning, Stuart.
Good morning. Nice to be with you.
So
I would make the assumption that forensic science or DNA testing or the collection of evidence to date has given them enough to suggest, and without being too graphic as you indicated, perhaps enough to indicate body tissue that was probably recovered, whether in a dumpster, on a trash bag, or some article of clothing that we are unaware of to date. But I do believe that there is sufficient tissue, meaning tissue that was left behind because of the dismemberment of the body, and therefore they're confident and comfortable with making that allegation, and they believe that beyond a reasonable doubt they'll be able to prove that charge as well.
I'm curious, is that just, do you think they just found anything with blood on it and packed it up and took it back to the lab? Do you think that's why 10 bags were found?
I think that when you go back as an investigator, you're able to contact the people that are responsible for trash pickup. They are typically on a scheduled route. And so, as you probably can imagine in this day and age, those garbage trucks have GPS tracking coordinates. And so they're able to go back and almost pinpoint to a reasonable degree, a time certain of when that trash was picked up, and then ultimately when it was delivered to the waste site. And I think what you found is that law enforcement was able to go and identify those trash bags. And I know one of your colleagues, Ashley Banfield, testified yesterday that, or reported that trash bags ironically have almost like their own DNA or their own footprint or their own fingerprint to be able to identify trash bags consistent with one another. So I think that's what you're seeing here.
We have talked about the mountain of circumstantial evidence here, and I want to hone in on the Google searches because they're incredibly damning if he is indeed guilty of this crime.
So let me take my FBI hat off and put my criminal defense hat back on. In this particular case, we have a situation where an individual is charged with murder. There is no corpus delicti. What that means is there is no body of the crime. And so the prosecution is going to have to collect and present overwhelming circumstantial evidence to eliminate any possibility, for example, that perhaps Ana Walshe staged her own death or she fell off the grid. With that being said, as being a criminal defense attorney, there is nothing illegal, even though it's strange and confusing and probably more consistent that this individual did in fact premeditatedly commit this murder. There is nothing illegal about going online, searching the internet, and doing these type of searches. So when you kind of step back, the searches in and of themselves, there's nothing illegal about it. It may make us feel uncomfortable. It may be kind of strange to us as why an individual would conduct those type of searches. But when you produce or introduce all of this circumstantial evidence, just keep piling it on and eliminating any and all possibilities that this defendant can come in and try to bring forth a defense that Ana Walshe is in hiding or she staged this, it's going to be able to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he, in fact, is responsible for committing the premeditated murder of his wife, even though we don't have the body of the crime, the corpus delicti, in this particular case.
What would lead to some of this circumstantial evidence that we have learned about to being excluded from this case?
Well, quite frankly, any type of searches, any type of execution of any potential search warrants where Brian Walshe had a legal expectation of privacy, there's always the pretrial ability for a defense attorney to challenge whether or not the probable cause that was articulated in a affidavit in support of a search warrant was not in fact consistent with a judge signing off on that. And if, in fact, there was evidence that was retrieved or recovered, for example, at Brian Walshe's house, we've heard through the news that there was certain evidence that was collected at the house down in the basement. If the police officers went in just arguably without a search warrant, or even if they went in with a search warrant, if a skilled and crafty criminal defense attorney can poke holes into the affidavit in support of that search warrant and say and be able to prove that my client's right of privacy was encroached upon, it's called the fruit of the poisonous tree. That means anything that would have been collected arguably is suppressed. And if that evidence may have led to other evidence, it's possible that it unravels the entire case.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.